What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to yet another NFL weekly wrap up. This time we are here to wrap up week number 4 in the NFL. Let's start on Thursday night. We got to Green Bay, and the Eagles actually escaped with a win over the Packers. I didn't expect that, considering all the injuries that the Eagles had and the fact that the Packers were in there with everybody, including Aaron Rodgers at full health. On a short week, the Eagles steal one. Bit of a shocker right there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Packers bounce back next week and how the Eagles are able to continue the momentum without all of their starters intact. The Tennessee Titans actually went on the road as well. They went to Atlanta and took one away from the Falcons. Essentially a road game for the Titans, as there were literally no fans in the Georgia Dome for the Falcons. The fans have already given up on the team, and the team's not even that bad. They're really not horrible, and yet those fans have already given up on them. And then we go to New Jersey, where the Giants just ran through the Redskins, just completely tore them apart. This was, I mean, as one-sided as it gets. And honestly, things are so bad in D.C. that now there's rumors that the head coach, Jay Gruden, is going to be fired. And if that's the case, then Raider fans, you might want to get ready, because John Gruden's going to hire his brother. You can believe that's going to happen. If the Redskins do fire Jay Gruden, I expect him to be some sort of coordinator or some sort of assistant in Oakland, even though they don't really need him. And speaking of which, we'll get to them in a minute. The Chargers beat up on the Dolphins, of course. Nothing new here. The Dolphins, once again, taking an L. They took yet another one, this time at home, in front of their own fans again. Nothing of noteworthy here, just same old shit. The Dolphins are going to try to get the number 1 pick because they don't love Josh Rosen as their quarterback for some reason. And we go to Indianapolis, where the Raiders on the road steal one, 31-24. The Raiders are surprisingly looking like an alright team. They're looking pretty good right now. They're not over the top great, but they look good enough to where they can cause problems for people in their division as well as for the people that they play. They could be a sneaky wild card team. That's certainly a team to look out for. The one thing about the Raiders, though, there is a big piece of news. There was a helmet-to-helmet collision where Raiders linebacker Vontaze Burfict took out Colts tight end Jack Doyle, hit him helmet-to-helmet. The illegal hit is just one of many illegal hits Vontaze Burfict has had throughout his career, and as a result, he will be suspended for the rest of the season. And quite frankly, the man should probably look at either the XFL or hell, even look into MMA if he wants to fight so damn much. Unfortunately, in today's NFL, he's deemed too much of a menace. But to be honest, there was nothing wrong with that hit. If this was like the 80s or the 70s or football even in the 90s, he would have been praised for it and be a poster boy. Instead, he's being blackballed. So, unfortunately, Vontaze Burfict going to be gone. But at least you still have Richie Incognito. So, you still have mental illness in that locker room, which is what the Raiders need in order to succeed. And speaking of illness, looks like the Panthers, without Cam Newton, seem like a much better team. They beat the Texans on the road 16-10. Kyle Allen looking like a very sharp rookie quarterback. And it's crazy how the Panthers look so much better without Cam Newton trying to run and trying to throw and just hobbling in the backfield. Strange. He's going to be back soon, but the Panthers may have a quarterback controversy on their hands, something to look out for. And the Chiefs, the Chiefs barely get upset, almost get upset. The Lions took it to them, though. The Lions were winning this game for a good portion of it, but then the Lions do what they always do. They give up a lead, they allow the team to come back, and the Chiefs end up stealing one 34-30 in Detroit. A very big win for the Chiefs. That was a trap game, and it certainly played out like one. The Chiefs usually would fall in this sort of situation, but they were able to prevail this time. And we go to Baltimore, where we had us a little bit of a divisional game, divisional rivalry. The Browns ended up kicking the Ravens right in the teeth and stomping the shit out of the bird, 40-25. The score is a little closer than what the game actually was, and to be honest, the Browns beat the shit out of the Ravens. The Ravens had no defense whatsoever. The offensive line is torn up so bad that Lamar has no time to throw. Man can't even set his feet before he's getting hit by a defensive end. And whenever he did try to run, they swarmed him. I mean, eventually this is what's going to happen, right? You have enough tape on this guy running, you're going to figure out when he's going to do it. And once they figured it out, it was over. Certainly a big win for the Browns. Only good news for the Ravens is that now both teams, the Ravens and Browns, are tied at 2 wins, 2 losses for first place in the division. And we'll actually get to the other divisional matchup a little later. But we go to the second biggest rivalry of the weekend. That was the Bills and Patriots. The Bills almost pulled it out at home. Came very close. But the Patriots survived by the skin of their teeth, 16-10. It was a close game than what it looked like on the scoreboard. The defense was looking good for the Bills. They just couldn't hold up in the end because, Tom Brady doing what Tom Brady does, leading a game-winning drive. And then we go to LA where another big upset happened. The Buccaneers put 55 points up on the Rams and beat them by 15, 55-44, with the game-winning touchdown ironically being scored by Ndamukong Suh, who is the man the Buccaneers actually traded for. Well, actually picked up after the Rams wouldn't pay him. What's crazy about this is I didn't expect the Rams defense to give up 55 points, and I certainly didn't expect them to end up in a shootout with the Buccaneers of all teams. I mean, if it's the Chiefs, okay. If it's a high-powered offense like maybe the Cowboys, okay. The Saints, okay. Ravens, okay. Teams like that with a run-and-gun type offense, even with the Browns and the Patriots. But the Buccaneers? Jameis Winston, quite frankly, on one of the worst runs that a rookie could be on, and you lose to that guy? It didn't look good there, Sean McVay. And not to mention, the quarterback, Jared Goff, is starting to look like a guy who's not worth all the money they paid him. Moving on to Arizona, the Seahawks beat the Cardinals 27-10. No shock here. A lot of experts and pundits were saying this could possibly be an upset. I thought about it as well with the Cardinals being at home, but the Cardinals do what the Cardinals do best, and quite frankly, Cliff Kingsbury is not the answer. A lot of people seem to think he is. They like him because he's Sean McVay's buddy, like every other coach that's getting hired these days, but Cliff Kingsbury was unsuccessful at Texas Tech. I don't see how he's going to be successful in the pros, but hey, it's the first year, so I'll give him time, but so far, not looking good, and Kyler Murray in the backfield as the quarterback looks incredibly scared when he tries to just get open to throw the ball. So far, that Texas Tech offense looks like shit in Phoenix, in Arizona, I should say. But we will see what happens. Moving on to Chicago, where the Bears beat up on the Vikings, 16-6. The score was low, but the Bears essentially dominated the Vikings. The Vikings couldn't pass. Kirk Cousins looked like dog shit. Delvin Cook was essentially stuffed in the backfield, and once the run was away for the Vikings, they couldn't do anything. Kirk Cousins is terrible. The pass game is definitely not good in the red zone. They can do over-the-top plays, like big pass plays and everything, but get them in the red zone, it's going to get ugly. Not a good one for the Vikings. The Vikings have a lot of rebuilding and regrouping to do. As for the Bears, they're looking good. They're looking all right so far, but we're going to see what happens with them in the future. Moving on, though, the Broncos, once again, taking it another L. 0-4 on the year. They lose to the Jaguars 26-24. Joe Flacco, once again, looks like complete dog shit. The man is washed up. John Elway failed on yet another quarterback, and even though they have that rookie Drew Lock sitting on the bench, they may want to turn to him because the way that team looks on defense, they don't look focused. Offense, Joe Flacco is not any sort of a leader, and because all those players look to him to be a leader, it's just one big clusterfuck. And so far, being 0-4, the results have shown just that. It can only get lower for the Broncos. As for the Jaguars, hopefully they can at least build some sort of momentum with all the rumors surrounding what will happen with their star cornerback, Jalen Ramsey. Will he be traded? Will he stay? We'll see. And of course, there was a Sunday night game in New Orleans where the Saints handed the Cowboys their first L of the season. It was a very close game. The Saints ended up defending a Hail Mary pass in the very end to secure the game, but for the Cowboys, this is not a bad loss because even though it's an L, it was a close game. And quite frankly, I mean, all you can do is just get better from here. We'll see what happens, though. The Saints, this is a big one. You took out one of the better teams in the whole league. So with this sort of momentum and Drew Brees not even playing, quite frankly, the Saints are going to be probably one of those surprise teams that a lot of people aren't thinking about right now. Because think about it. Teddy Bridgewater beat the Cowboys. Drew Brees was injured for this game. He couldn't play. So, unfortunately for him, unfortunately for Drew Brees, it's kind of like, can he beat the Cowboys or not? But at least we know that the Saints are good without Drew Brees. And that probably says a lot about where they're going to be when it comes playoff time. But we will see what happens. And, of course, there was a Monday night game. Steelers and Bengals. This was one-sided. The Bengals are complete garbage. The Steelers, of course, not the best team, but they are way better than the Bengals. Steelers got their first win of the year. Bengals, another 0-4 team. This was just as one-sided as it looked. Nothing too special about this one right here. All it does say is the Bengals are essentially in competition with the Dolphins and Redskins to being, I'd say, the worst team in the whole league. They're definitely at the bottom. Oh, and the Broncos, since they can't win a game. But anyways, folks, this is the wrap-up for week number 4. And make sure you subscribe and you like, and you let me know if your team did good or bad. And I will see you for the week 5 preview coming up in a couple days.